Because look, every week there just seems to be a bunch of damn rumors that come up. I don't know why. Nobody really knows why. It just keeps happening. So we're going to go over a bunch of these rumors. Midori, by the way, is seemingly the one just dropping new information every day. I don't know what the hell is going on, but Midori then every week keeps getting confirmed to be right. So you know what? Midori's like the GOAT at the moment. We all thought Pioro was the GOAT. Little did we know Midori was coming for the crown. Funny thing is, Midori almost quit being a leaker. And then said, you know what? Screw the haters.
What if they're the same person?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they are.
Midori has replied to Pure in the past, so unless she's
that
doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You can do that.
Yeah,
at the same time. So
Midori hasn't leaked being from Kyoto yet, so I guess there's that.
Yep.
Anyways, so a whole bunch of stuff from Midori and some other people as well. One of the biggest ones, and this is actually has to do with the next direct a little bit, is the Dragon Quest one. That one's out there, but we're going to save that for the direct topic. So we're going to go right over to the server information. So the server information I thought was quite fascinating because no one was really talking about like Nintendo Switch 2 servers. Like, hey, if this system's coming out, they got to have servers for it, right? Well, the servers have been discovered, and their code names are P01, which, okay, yeah, you could argue that has to do with Ounce, potentially. We don't know. Ounce is the rumored, widely speculated to believe code name of the whole platform. But P01. And the interesting part, and the whole reason we're bringing it up, because who cares about the servers, right? We're not learning anything really from the servers. Outside of one of the P01 servers is specifically designed to allow network transferring between a hack and HAC, which is a Nintendo Switch server. So there's a server that exists for no other purpose than network transferring between Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. Now that's really fascinating. So what is it for? Is it for cross-platform play? Is it for just backwards compatibility reasons?
NSO?
NSO?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of this server? Anyone want to add to any of those weird guesses? Because I have no idea.
I would say if
confirm that the accounts are going to carry over, that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
Nintendo account.
They did. But I would say you say cross platform play, like for example, those who play Splatoon 3 on Switch 2 and those who play on regular Switch, basically kind of
Smash Bros, Splatoon, Mario Kart.
I think that all of NSO transfers over. I think they keep building on that.
Yeah,
that's where I've been at. So
sure,
I agree. I think it transfers over. But yeah, I would think maybe it's for the cross-platform play.
Yeah.
If I had to give one guess, but it could be all those.
Yeah.
It definitely could be all of those.
I'm assuming all our games, all our cloud save data, hopefully everything will be transferred over to the next console as well.
Yep, you always have a few that say, hey, you messed up my Switch, you messed up this and that. But what if it's none of the above? What if Nintendo's actually putting up their own streaming service?
What if it's how you have to upgrade your original Switch games to Switch 2 versions?
You must be correct because he's always right.
That's right. I mean, pay $3 and upgrade it. Yeah.
Do you guys think they're going to make it easier to transfer games, save data like Animal Crossing, or I think what other games do they have it locked in? Pokemon and maybe
Pokemon and Animal Crossing.
Yeah, the ones that aren't cloud saves. Yeah, there's gotta be.
I don't think they're going to do that though. They don't like duplication. So
we're gonna make it easy for every game but Animal Crossing. We're gonna make it as hard as possible for Animal Crossing.
Everyone must restart your island.
Yeah, gotta jump through hoops. But I think that's gonna be as easy as just going into your Switch 2, downloading, logging in, and then going over to the downloads and downloading your account.
Yeah, here's the thing: they do let you transfer that data when you switch switches. So I'm assuming that they'll just let it be a local transfer to the new Switch.
Yeah.
If they don't, that would be a massive oversight. But it is Nintendo, and I could totally believe that would be an oversight for them.
Yeah.
Because it impacts so few games, but it just happens to be kind of popular ones. So,
well, Animal Crossing has that specific software. Does that?
Yeah, that's
tool.
That's what I mean.
The transfer tool. Yeah. Because Animal Crossing is really complicated for some reason. Okay. Well, there's other rumors as well. This is kind of coming from Midori, but also from Necrophilippe Lehman. This deals with some interesting stuff with Resident Evil. So if you go through this whole thread, and he already had part of this thread backed up by IGN, but there's a remake supposedly of Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica in development right now. And Necrophilippe Lima is saying that, and both are going to be on Switch 2, but the important part is natively on Switch 2. Natively.
Nice. Do you think they'll go back and do the other, like Resident Evil 2, 3, 7, 8? The ones that are cloud right now, do you think they'll go back and do native?
I mean, it's up to the developer if they want to port it.
I think they will. I think a lot of older, I say older in quotes, older third-party games, like maybe with Monster Hunter Wilds, you might get a port of World. I think Bandai Namco is going to port a lot of their older games onto Switch 2, Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3. I really want to see Dark Souls 3. Tales of Arise. I know a lot of people who wanted to play that on Switch. And I'm like, I don't know if it's going to run well on Switch. Just wait for the new hardware. I really hope a game like Tales of Arise is there at launch, because that plus Elden Ring is going to do really well for Bamco. But I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom goes into the, I say older in quotes because they're not really that old, like RE7, 8, the 2 and 3 remake. I'm sure they're going to natively port those over.
I would agree. I don't see why we wouldn't get them, because they're going to sell.
Yeah.
And obviously we
could
get 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
The remakes all on Switch, along with 0 and Code Veronica.
There was a story that Resident Evil 6 has sold
Resident Evil
1 million
6
copies on Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
That's insane.
So yeah, they're definitely bringing them. And Resident Evil 4 remake, I would assume would probably be a launch title.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people who were like, "Oh my god, I wish like so and so third party game comes to Switch 2," and I'm like, don't wish. It most likely is going to come, unless the publisher is really stupid. They're going to really want to put it on Switch 2. Like Elden Ring is like a big thing. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, is Elden Ring going to come to Switch 2?" I was like, it's more like, when is it going to come to Switch 2? It's going to come at launch.
It works perfectly fine on the Steam Deck. So if the Switch 2 is as powerful as the Steam
PS4,
Deck,
and this thing's more powerful than the PS4.
Yeah.
It's ain't gotta be a problem.
Anything on PS4 is like the only fire, like green light to come to Switch.
The only third-party game that I really question is GTA 6.
Yeah.
Everything else I think is coming. I honestly think for the first 3 years of Switch 2, it's basically gonna have full AAA support.
God of War Ragnarok on Switch 2.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
We'll get Halo before God of War.
I have a question, guys. Do you think the new Doom game is coming to Switch 2?
Yes.
I definitely think so.
Yeah,
I think
Doom Eternal
sold well on Switch. Yeah.
Sold well. Really they did a great job porting it.
They really did.
I think it was Panic Button that did it.
Yeah.
Did Eternal do as well? Because I know the Doom 2016 did really well, but Eternal was like digital only.
It was digital.
Still did really well.
Yeah. Now that's not the only news we have coming in, because look, obviously we talk about the third-party games. There's one thing we know is coming to Switch 2. It's already known. If this isn't even a question, Mario, because it's already been announced as a 10-year deal. Of course, we're talking about Call of Duty. And we got a little update on that coming out from Insider Gaming. And the guy at Insider Gaming that reported on it is not Tom Henderson, although Tom Henderson has a sterling track record and runs Insider Gaming. However, Tom Henderson did back up these claims by noting the sources were developer sources. And what is he saying? According to developer sources, the franchise doesn't need to move away from the past generation, dealing with it coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but also, as part of the Microsoft and Activision deal, which will bring Call of Duty to Nintendo for 10 years, it's understood that Call of Duty will be released on Nintendo platforms starting with Switch 2, which he presumes is next year, as the original Switch isn't powerful enough, which is fascinating because if you guys remember all those court cases, Microsoft was arguing the Switch was powerful enough.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, they made the argument that if they built a game directly from the Switch from the ground up, they could port
Yeah,
in.
it'd be powerful enough to run current Call of Duty, which it would probably be true. You could dumb down the visuals and everything enough to make it run. But also they promised
coming to PS4 as well, right?
Yes.
PS4,
Here's the
Xbox
thing.
One.
They promised though that it would have feature parity, and I wonder if one of those key features is that whole 60 FPS. And they're like, we're not going to be able to hit 60 if we get this thing on Switch. And people will argue we're not living up to our contract of feature parity. So they're like, hey, Nintendo, Switch 2? Cool. Nintendo doesn't care. They just want the game. Because honestly, for the purposes of Microsoft, it would be better to be on it this year because there's more install base of Switch. But it makes more sense based on the technical capabilities that you would rather put it on Switch 2. And I had a thought on this. I mentioned it in my video. I wonder if the decision really isn't about could they get it to run on Switch, but rather this is their first time bringing Call of Duty back to a Nintendo audience since Black Ops back on Wii U. And when they bring it, they want it to be a top tier experience rather than something that feels watered down.
I agree.
And so they figured, hey, if we're there, our first one's November of next year, or even if it's this game, but at launch of Switch, which might not be at launch of Switch. They might wait and just whatever game they announce next summer, bring that over to the Switch 2. I think that actually bodes well. It'd be early in the Switch 2's life cycle while it's building an audience, and you're giving people a portable version, which, by the way, based on the rumors and speculation all around the Switch 2 is more powerful than Steam Deck, and that's the most popular handheld PC to play Call of Duty on the go with. So it would theoretically be a better performing version. I think that this is a very good decision for at least from the point of making a good impression, because it's going to be 10 years. So. They can't just look short term. They can't just look, we can get a bunch of sales now. No, we got to think about building with the new system.
Black Ops is really good on the Wii U. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good on the Wii U.
It had the dual screen, like one person can play on the gamepad and another one play on the TV. That was cool. They should have ported Call of Duty Mobile to Switch. I don't know why they haven't. I know Warzone Mobile is very popular, so why not just bring that?
Totally.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're not bringing over Warzone and that they're starting things next year, because Warzone should be able to run on the Switch.
Yeah.
But again, I think a lot of it is that first taste. We want it to be like, this is on par with everything else. We don't need to buy a PS5. Like a Nintendo fan doesn't feel like they need to buy another system to play Call of Duty anymore, because you have the true version of Call of Duty.
Do you think they would do something similar like they do in Splatoon, where you have the motion controls, and the motion controls are like the slight, you have the stick movement, but then also the motion controls for like the finer movements?
I would love if they did it, because it would almost compare to other systems.
Yeah.
Unless they put it with, here's the thing. PlayStation's got motion. You could do it with a controller.
I've heard that nothing will compare to, if it's in a first person shooter sense, nothing will compare to keyboard mouse, but I hear that it closes that gap a lot, actually, once you like not necessarily from rip, because it's not something familiar, but in terms of people who get good at it, and like that skill gap becomes smaller. So I wonder if they would do that. That'd be really cool. I know that's not necessarily
by motion. You mean like the Splatoon gyro aiming?
Yeah,
right?
gyro aiming. Yeah,
correct.
So back on Wii U, when Black Ops came out, it let everybody play together in the same lobbies. Within a month of launch, they had to separate the lobbies because people playing with the Wiimotes were destroying people with traditional controllers. Was it like it was a
Prime controls?
It was a.
It makes sense. It's the second best thing to a mouse. Like you're literally just
were perfected over the Wii, because they kept bringing Call of Duty to Wii, and they had motion controls the whole way. So like the motion controls were just dominating, because it's literally point and click, point and click, point and click.
Yeah.
Are you saying it was like crossplay, or like on the Wii U, like they separated like the motion controls
crossplay and people playing on whether you did crossplay or what they did? What they did is they took everyone who has Wiimote and made them only play against each other. Yeah. So if you made that your control option, it was insane. And so I do think that there's a potential it might get supported, especially if there's Joy-Cons again. They can have a dual Joy-Con mode and have that support. And if it's literally the same as point and click, I do wonder if they're going to be like, we need to separate you out or make you only play with PC players, maybe put you in the same lobbies as them.
That would be wild. That would be
which
wild
would be
if they
absolutely
put you in the same-
wild that
yeah.
the control scheme is so much better on Switch 2 that you need to go play with the top tier.
With the big boys.
You can't play with PS5 because you wreck them.
I'm curious though, because I would argue, so the gyro is pretty good, but it's not the same as the pointer from the Wii, because the pointer from the
they had
Wii,
the IR sensor.
Yeah, that was insanely accurate. I mean, we didn't even realize how accurate it was even at the
Yeah.
time. Because when I play, so 2 examples, both the 3D collection, so Mario 3D collection, specifically Galaxy, and when I play Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword remake on Switch, when I was trying to the motion controls on Switch, at least trying to emulate the Wii specifically, they don't transfer at all. And I would argue that Switch gyro, I would say in terms of like pointing, are not very accurate. I think maybe the gyro itself, in terms of like tilting around, could be good. But
one thing I noticed, you bring that up, was with Skyward Sword HD when I did it, is I found out that for me, because I prefer the motion controls. That's just I don't like the translation of the sticks. I found the controls actually to be really good, but what it needed to be, and this is what sucked when you had the IR thing. You could just point and everything's good. You had to be like the perfect distance and perfectly calibrated before. Like if you recalibrate your motion before you start the game, and then you're at the exact perfect distance that you're supposed to be from the TV, it works just fine. Yeah, and I had no issues with it. But again, you didn't need to be perfect in the old setup to have the better motion. So
that's what I appreciated. I mean, just about Wii Motion Plus was it was so easy to calibrate on the fly.
What if that's one of the things they bring back? Where that
would be very cool.
I kind of wish.
You got the IR camera. That'd be kind of nice.
What
if they put it on the front of one, and then all they have is on the dock just a little tiny little camera sensor that's same thing.
I was literally looking at my Switch. It's on my desk right here. I was like, I wonder how easy it would be to emulate this, like the Wii's like IR sensor.
And the thing is, if they do that and they put it on the dock and they make it now, so it doesn't have to be centered. So it doesn't have to be centered on your TV anymore because technology is better today. You can probably get away with not having it centered on your TV. That would be quite fascinating if they brought that back with the dock, because now you're talking about, man, how many Wii remasters are we about to get?
Yeah, I would love to see
the one Wii remasters.
I would love to see
for Prime 3 as well. Quite a bit. Prime 3 had a lot of motion control stuff, like pointing and then twisting, like opening the door, putting in the capsule, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will. Well, not to go too in the weeds. I did like the stick translation of Skyward Sword. I thought it was very creative, but I definitely don't think it was very intuitive. So I can understand why somebody wouldn't like it.
My experience with Skyward Sword is whenever things would like get weird, like my problem is Link would always like have his hand like all the way over here.
Yeah,
I would just kind of relax and I would press Y and it would kind of recenter, and then it would fix it for me. That's the only issue I remember having with the Switch version.
Yeah, the default positioning of the sword was a bit weird. But anyways, that would be a very cool feature to see in Switch 2, is something maybe akin, like a more accurate Wii pointer sensor, along with because the gyroscope is good. Like the actual like tilting of the Switch is good, like in Switch controllers is very good, at least in my experience, except for that one Breath of the Wild puzzle at the very beginning of the game. That puzzle. But otherwise, pretty good. And I think, I think a test of that is like Splatoon, like I was saying, like Splatoon 2, 3, they definitely have that baked in. So I think Call of Duty would benefit from that big time. So anyways.
Yeah, and then we have one last rumor, sort of an update coming from Moore's Law is dead, but summarized in this WCCF article. Basically, NVIDIA may be being a little confused that Switch 2 isn't out yet. I don't know how much to believe in that, because I'm assuming that they would have access to Nintendo's launch plans way more than pretty much anyone else, since they make the technology. That being said, what's interesting is that this does note that the previously assumed 8 nanometer or 7 nanometer node, it might be smaller than that. They might have went with 4 nanometers. And if that's the case, that would be a lower heat output, which could enable in dot mode up to 4.5 teraflops versus the rumored 4 teraflops. That would be even more powerful. Quite fascinating.
All the power.
All the power.
Oh, the teraflops.
All the teraflops. I mean,
in terms of GameCubes, how many GameCubes is that?
Probably 60 duct taped together at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a building.
It's a lot of GameCubes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it to me, it's fascinating because, obviously, you know, we have a topic later about power and what's more so about graphics, but how people keep equating power for graphics. But what I'm like really excited about looking at this and thinking about, okay, 4.5 teraflops, whatever. Oh, it's got more RAM available for games than the Xbox Series S. Okay, cool. What does this even mean? I'm interested in what companies, because I think the shift is starting to happen, and Nintendo has been on this whole gameplay matters more than anything else for a long time, and I feel like take Tears of the Kingdom, all those glue mechanics and the building stuff. I don't really think that was actually possible to do it that way with the sky and the underground and all the build mechanics on Wii U. I don't think Wii U was powerful enough to do it, and I think that was showing how much more powerful Switch is. Everyone's like, well, the graphics. Okay, yeah, the graphics might not look that much different, but that doesn't matter. The gameplay. Look at what they're doing with the gameplay. They are maxing out the system's capabilities with the damn gameplay. Look at how you can make the game lag by gluing 21 things together and making some monster monstrosity, and you all of a sudden the game lags. Yeah, because they're pushing the system with the gameplay mechanics.
It's really interesting to see how the game is now versus the build they showed us at GDC.
Yeah,
and they had to like re-engineer each little asset into the game so it could fit into the updated engine that they have.
Which is why it took so damn long.
But now people on Twitter only care about how people's eyes and ears look like.
Oh my! Yeah, okay, we'll get into that later. We'll save that for the graphics topic later. But I'm just throwing out there that I think that regardless if it's 4 teraflops and dot or a little bit less than 4 teraflops, or if it's 4.5, in the end, what I'm actually excited about has nothing to do with that. It's just Nintendo and what they're going to be able to do from a gameplay perspective that maybe they might not have been able to do. Like, what's the Zelda team going to be able to do that they felt like, hey, we can't really do it. We don't have enough power. Oh, now this is going to feel like unlimited power, because unlike the jump from Wii U to Switch, which was a smaller jump, this is a generational jump. And with a generational jump, that means you now have so much more resources than you ever had before. So now, what are you going to be able to do with it? And you know, talk about this a little bit. Monolith Soft, right? Monolith Soft, and they're the ones that feel the most restricted, I think, by what Nintendo's had hardware-wise. And now they're going to have the power to do things that they want to do that maybe they couldn't before. And heck, there's this little rumor out there from Midori. And Midori, as we already talked about, very good track record, put out something that has people excited, although we don't really know what it means. A game in the works by them with the code name Legend. Legacy. And that could be it could be their new IP they teased a long time ago. It could technically be the next Xenoblade game. We don't know. Or, and some people have speculated, because they have a dedicated Zelda team, is it a remake Legend tying into Legend of Zelda? So there's a lot of possibilities with that. And that's exciting because we're presuming that this code name is for a Switch 2 title, because I don't think anyone feels Monolith Soft's about to drop anything else on Switch. But
they're basically done for Switch 1, since they had a DLC last year, but the DLC was basically a game. Like, it was basically
that DLC was huge.
Content and lengthwise, it was like a full-length game with feature deemed. So it's definitely going to be a Switch 2 title. I have a whole video on this, which I just released today, but it's either down to something Xenoblade X related or the new IP.
Go watch it, guys. Go watch it.
Yeah. Go give it a watch after. Yeah,
link it.
I highly doubt it's something connected to mainline Xenoblade, though.
What is that?
What is that?
That's peanut butter whiskey. It's called a Nut Crusher.
Nice.
Peanut butter?
Damn.
Nice. Peanut butter whiskey. Called a Nut Crusher.
I got a random question.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody pick one of these up?
What is that? The mix switch.
The mix switch?
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Did anybody else grab one?
Nah.
I haven't opened it up yet, but I'm gonna do a video on
Did
it.
you
However,
get
I
all
didn't
the
get the
contents with
dumper.
it? because
I didn't get the dumper.
They're
sending
sending the dumper separately. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Because I was actually just going to back up my games.
Oh, well, you better hack your Switch, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a different Switch to hack.
You can hack an OLED if that's what you got. It can be hacked.
Yeah.
It's more difficult, but it can be done. I'm not going to tell you how because I don't pirate. Yeah. And I don't actually even have emulators on any of my computers. But
yeah,
not allowed.
Well, I do know
legitimately
that every Switch has been hacked. It just happens that the version 1 Switches happen to be the easiest. Like it's super easy to do. Like anyone can do. My kids could do it. Like, it's so easy.
Is it Legacy? Is it Legacy? Not
that's
Legend.
what the code name is called. And I looked at the what's that website? What's that? The website with all the code names. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, Cutting Room Floor. Yeah. So Legacy doesn't relate back to any of the other Xenoblade code names, which are like Big Folk and Small Folk. It's Big Folk 1, 2, 3.
You want to let them know how many GameCubes it is to answer that question more correctly?
Yeah. So I looked it up, and the GameCube is 9.4 gigaflops, which is 0.0094 teraflops. Which, if you then divide 4 by that, you get 425.5 GameCubes.
Wow.
That's wild.
That's awesome.
So you start up that 425 GameCube server farm. You'll finally see what Switch 2 is capable of.
Oh, hold on. Let's see what the 425 is, or 4.5.
Oh, boy. I don't even want to. Probably like another 100 thrown out or something. All right,
another 0.
So that's like, as far as I'm aware, all the current rumors for Switch 2. There could have been some that dropped during the damn show, for all I know. Sounds like
478.7.
478. So it sounds like we're going to have a lot of third-party support, which it's just been heavily every week. New third-party games are being rumored for the dang system. And then it just, I'm just excited. Like, for a system that all we've officially been told is it exists. That's all Nintendo has said. Hey, the Nintendo Switch successor, like it's a thing. Okay, cool. We'll have news on it or an announcement or something in the current fiscal year. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's it. So I will throw. We'll kind of end it like this. We talked about before. This is our first 9-pack. We got some new faces around here. When do we think they're finally going to drop the announcement that they promised?
My new face is frozen.
It is. Your new face is frozen. But well, let's start with Niche Pops. When are they gonna? When this announcement they promised? When's it happening?
I hope it's September because that's earlier rather than later. I think after the June Direct they are just gonna be. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a September Direct. I think the September Direct is going to be the announcement, and then there will be some like marketing, promotional stuff, Q&A stuff, a lot of that. Mm-hmm. They could do October, but that's kind of pushing it.
Well, that's if they wanted to come out this year, obviously.
Yeah.
There's the rumors that it wasn't coming out this year.
It's late, if it's holiday 2025, the bottom line is we know. Here's the thing: we know an announcement because they called it an announcement is happening by March of 2025. By the end of that month, we will have something announced for this system.
I like the timeline they had with Switch 1 with October reveal
of another announcement.
January big presentation, and then March release.
Mm-hmm. I swear.
I kind of like the.
Hey, we're gonna have an event revealing the system June 2025, and that's the announcement they dropped. An announcement of an announcement of an announcement.
Hey,
just happened.
They showed a trailer.
Wait. He later on went to say that they're releasing information in phases. First phase, that's where it dropped. Second phase. The second phase is what you said, Nate.
The second phase is an announcement of a new announcement.
Yeah. We better hear about Metroid Prime 4. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, jeez. John Nebo.
The name will be launched in phases for us.
It's
gonna be denial, anger, and then acceptance.
Okay. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you, but since you're always right.
This is the correct.
Just tell me when.
It's super easy. It's super easy, super basic. They're gonna follow what they did for the Switch 1. They're gonna have the trailer in October.
Watch my videos,
and then they'll have the investor reveal in January and the release in March. It worked for them
blow out in January, drop them. I like it because it worked last time.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it a lot.
What are they doing in September then?
Nothing.
Nothing. They don't care anymore. They're done.
Nothing.
Well, they'll have a game. They'll probably have a game every month the rest of the year. They'll announce some stuff.
Like an indie world or like a
partner showcase or something.
Partner showcase or an indie world. Yeah, that could happen for sure.
Big question.
I see. What's up?
Big question. Do you think so? We know we assume backwards compatibility, but do we think it's going to be backwards compatible with the cartridges themselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be like a Nintendo 3DS situation where the
3DS situation.
cartridges
It'll
will have like
have
a
the
size
notch.
difference?
Yeah, it'll have the
I
notch
bet you the
where
slot
that
will
would
fit
make
both
sense.
you can
cartridges.
put it in your Switch One.
Yeah.
And if it's not a notch because they don't want to repeat, it'll still be something where both cartridges can go in.
Okay.
Same
Yeah.
slot. Now, I mean,
Kinda
they
like
could put 2 slots on technically. They've done that before for some handheld compatibility. Right?
Oh yeah,
They had
the DS.
Like you can put the thing on the bottom, or you can put the new ones on the top. So they could do something like that. It's not like these slots; they cost pennies.
The notch would be for the Switch 2 cartridges, so they can go into Switch 1.
I do think, like prior systems, though, later versions will drop the physical backwards compatibility.
Yes, I think.
Like whenever they release a revision, like an OLED version or something, I don't think that will support it physically.
Yeah. I also
could be wrong.
What do you think the shape do you think it'll be just like the same size and then a notch, or do you think it'll be something totally different?
It's gonna be longer.
I think
we're gonna get disk drive and
I think it'd be like a floppy
disk drive.
Yeah.
Well,
disk drive.
I could see wider. I couldn't see
floppy disk.
Oh yeah,
I could see them going like a DS way, like wider and thinner, or I don't know, especially if it's going to be the same port, right? If we think about it, same port, I could see it being wider, maybe not necessarily thinner, but I could definitely see it being wider. And then you put the regular one in, and it kind of auto slots.
Yeah.
Or if it's just totally new, then it could be any. I don't know. It could be an SD card. That'd be
because
wild.
there's talk about it being like 3D NAND and obviously using faster stuff, which I wouldn't be a surprise. That's the common stuff today. It'd be hilarious to me if it's the exact same size, and if you stick it on a Switch 1, it just tells you, "Hey, you need to upgrade to Switch 2."
I mean, possibly.
Clever marketing ploy. Pops in, this is incompatible. You need a Switch 2. Oh, mom, thank you. I need a Switch 2. Mom.
I bet we see a ton of remasters come over though.
Do you know how many people will complain about that though? Oh my god. Sorry, I cut you off.
Here's the only thing I hope they do. Whatever coat they put on to make it disgusting to lick, surprise me and give me a different flavor.
Yeah, but say put some like lemon flavor in there.
Make it be like if I lick it, it's like a bee stung my tongue. Something. Something different.
Only Nintendo would do that.
We don't need a literal bee sting. Allergies, but something.
Can't believe that was a real thing.
I know. That's something we're going to talk about.
To be fair, it prevented my dog
really
from
did that.
eating the cartridge. So
it's like the Tide Pod movement.
But what about like SD cards and stuff? I mean,
but
same thing.
Imagine like a menthol flavored.
I just wanted to do a Skittles flavor. And
they're worried about kids getting addicted to Zens. They're gonna get addicted to Switch 2 cartridges. Anyways, they were there cracking cold ones. I see you, Eric. Look at you. No, I just thought that would be an interesting discussion point because it's like I always like found the production of the Switch, the 3DS cartridge, really interesting and like that notch. So I was like, okay, do we think it's gonna be 2 separate ports, or I always think that's an interesting point of discussion.
Yeah.
In terms of what I think, what I would like to see this announcements, I'm a little biased because I'm planning on going to PAX West. So it'd be really cool if we go to PAX West and they drop it at Nintendo Live or some sort of, or maybe like before Nintendo Live, or
are they doing Nintendo Live this year?
That was my
not confirmed, but I'm just assuming, right?
Australia.
Is that early, mid, or late September?
It is Labor Day weekend, so it is the first weekend of September. So that's what I'm saying. So it'd have to be an earlier, like they would be down, they would be a holiday launch or something. That'd be amazing. I hope that's what it is.
What if they haven't announced Nintendo Live because they're waiting for like the anticipation?
Dude, that's why I'm like I've already booked stuff for
this
PAX
is
West.
the way. Here's the thing. They already announced a Nintendo Live in Australia. I don't think they're waiting to announce a Nintendo Live. I don't think we're getting one in the US this year because
isn't the Australia one this summer? Isn't the summer?
Yes.
So, but that's
I think
that's
it's far
after,
more
to be fair.
likely that they would schedule another one in Japan since that one got canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna get Space
I
World this year.
want one in the US, to be fair, but I've been noticing with their Nintendo Lives, it's not like they schedule them in every country every year. It's just not what they do. So the fact that they already have one in Australia, I can see them rescheduling one for Japan, and just the US had one last year. We don't get one this year. We'll maybe get one next
Do you
year.
think at the very least, though, because I mean, PAX West is at home plate besides Japan.
Sure.
I mean, Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo's America's.
Yeah. So, do you think they'd have a higher presence there at the very least, and maybe have a demo if it maybe not a demo, but like some sort of thing? You know what I mean? I don't know.
For their upcoming Switch games for holiday 2024.
Yeah.
And that's if you're lucky, because they haven't had anything big going on at PAX since Animal Crossing.
Yeah, no, PAX. Oh my god, I think
they've been very much like, here's a bunch of our games we already have. Have a good day.
Nintendo. The Nintendo rep that gave me the tour of the Nintendo booth was very nice to me, and they were all amazing. However, that was a Pokemon, and it was demoing Pokemon games that were 5 years old. Detective Pikachu, Legends Arceus, according to the demo person.
Arceus.
And Scarlet Violet. And they were very nice, and they cut me in line for Pikachu, which was very nice of them. However, Nintendo above that person, that was their poorest display yet. I thought last year was really bad, but this year I was like, oh, this is worse.
This was even worse.
It's not even a new game here.
Yeah.
Anyways,
there wasn't a new game the year before either, but they at least had a bunch of different games for different franchises.
And it's crazy too, because both years they had a game that had just come out or was about to come out.
Yeah.
Like last year was Tears of the Kingdom. And then this year,
they had a statue. They had a statue. They didn't have the game.
That's true. I give them that. But I'm saying, like, they could have demoed it to the public. They could have done some Sky Island stuff.
Mario
at that point,
last on Nintendo Live was Mario Wonder.
Yeah, and then
Nintendo Live actually had a game early.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
they did have a demo
of it.
Yeah.
But this year they could have done Princess Peach. Like Showtime was like, I think it was out at that point actually.
But they didn't.
So they didn't. Yeah.
Anyways, I think they just don't care about
PAX at this point.
They just don't
Well,
care.
it's just unfortunate to see these. Like, I get from a marketing and financial standpoint that it's way easier to do everything in house and just post a video on YouTube and also have Furukawa just fucking tweet at 3 a.m, right? But it's really disappointing that the in-person experience is becoming more and more lackluster. You know, I don't know. That's just me. And
I agree. Here's the thing: Nintendo Live wasn't lackluster. So my thing is, if they're going to start doing that, Sony does their own event as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine. They just have to find a way. I think they're feeling their way through Nintendo Lives right now by putting them in different countries and getting all the feedback they can get. And then from that, they're going to determine, all right, how often do we want to do these in each country? And do we want to start putting more games ahead of time demoed there like we used to at E3? So I do think that, the one last year, I know it was extremely positive feedback. And then they didn't get feedback from the Japan one because they couldn't do it. Now they're going to have the Australia one. So I think during the Switch 2 era, we're going to start seeing that Nintendo Live is going to be a more regular thing. And they might always time the US one with PAX to kind of partner with them. Or they might just decide we don't need to. We're going to do our own thing whenever the hell we feel like it, because that's who we are. We're Nintendo, and you're going to show up for us. So who cares?
I would. I would show up. Just I would not. I would go just to that over PAX West at least. I like PAX East because I have a lot of personal friends. But
I always wonder. Because since Reggie left the company, Nintendo doesn't have as good of a relationship with Jeff Keighley. Because they were really close, so we got a lot more Nintendo stuff at Jeff Keighley events when we had Reggie.
They haven't been officially partnered with Summer Games Fest ever, right?
Yeah, no, not ever. But here's the thing: well, when their direct is announced, Jeff Keighley will put it on their website like it's part of Summer Games.
Yeah, right. He'll tweet about it like Dextero.
But what I find interesting though is they did bring Doug Bowser on as a key person for the Game Awards. He actually is on the panel that helps make decisions for the Game Awards.
Yep.
And I always wondered, like, over time now that he's actually been over a number of years, been at these events and been behind the scenes and been talking to Jeff Keighley, that if the relationship is starting to foster to a point where potentially, if we ever see a summer Nintendo Live in the US, if he times it to be around Summer Game Fest, because Summer Game Fest Those who don't know, as of last year and now again this year, does have a behind the scenes E3 style event to go play games. You have to sign up for it. It's already sold out. You have to sign up to go. But they have a demo event. They take over an entire block in LA. And it's a bunch of these different buildings you can go into and demo all these different games, plus have food and all that in between.
This is Games Fest?
Yeah, Summer Game Fest. They actually have an in-person festival now, not just the show.
Oh, wow.
But again, right now I think it's mostly just media right now that get to go to it, which is fine. That's how E3 started. Yeah. I always wonder if the relationship keeps fostering. Not that Nintendo will show something at Summer Game Fest. I think they'll always just do a direct instead. But if they want to have a Nintendo Live that's kind of like alongside in LA, the Summer Game Fest stuff.
They have their own,
hey, if you're a media that has a badge for this, you can also come to our live kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that Xbox or PlayStation could do the in-person event to the capacity that Nintendo can? I just feel like the audience...
PlayStation's been doing it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
PlayStation's been doing it for years. They left E3. They were the first company to leave E3 before E3 was done. They've been doing their own in-person event every year.
Oh, I didn't even know that they were
doing
it.
It's widely attended. Yeah, there's a lot of people that go to that one.
All right.
What about... It's kind of like... how Blizzard has BlizzCon. They didn't do it this year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like BlizzCon's packed every year. I mean, so is the Sony event. Xbox tends to time their stuff with Jeff Keighley, so I bet you that they'll have demos at the Jeff Keighley in-person event. So probably they don't got to worry about that as much.
Like, yeah.
And I know I'm pretty sure after I believe next week is called Preview Week. So a lot of media are actually going to be in LA next week before all the events happen, already playing private demos of everything.
Oh, wow.
And I know that Microsoft every year, the last 3 years after their presentation they've done, they've also had an additional period behind the scenes where you can go play the games again. So that's how Microsoft's always done it because they're still doing in-person events. You got to remember they're still doing the hey, come to a theater and watch us. They're like one of the few companies still doing that. So, which is cool. Good for them. I mean, it gives you a little bit of the old E3 vibes, a little bit. Of course, it has to be with the company that people are the least excited about, but happens.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's so unfortunate. The direction Xbox is taking, but
the direction that PlayStation 2 is taking, I try not to favorite any of these consoles because I've got all three. I play all three,
sure.
But
Absolutely.
I'm pretty frustrated with Xbox and PlayStation. That's what my video is about. It's all about frustration and both of those companies just doing the wrong thing right now.
I'm 100% favoring Nintendo. I don't care. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I will.
That's why he's always right.
Yeah,
he only talks about the one company.
I wouldn't say I'm a fanboy, but I have always gone. I've got almost 200 physical Switch games, and PS5 got like 30. Series X, I got 2. So that says anything,
Damn it, Game Junction, stop talking about non-Nintendo. I'm just kidding. I literally was just talking about the Xbox event.